It's Nancy Jutton, and today is February 24th, Thursday, 2022. I gotta tell you, the degree to which people are struggling with their media one sheets is boggling my mind. It is really hard to write about yourself. People are overcome with humility disease, I'm not worth it disease, oops, I forgot that was so cool about me disease. They are working on a message that doesn't quite land. And here's the problem with that. If you are one of those people who is trying to dial in your media one sheet in a vacuum all by yourself, and you don't have anybody to take a look at it to let you know if it's hot or not, here's what often happens. People keep working the problem without getting any input, and that means they keep perseverating and worrying and obsessing and trying to perfect a message that may never be seen, heard, or celebrated, or ultimately compensated. Writing about yourself is hard. It is hard, which is why I love to help people to see the story that is right in front of their face. Just yesterday, I was working with someone who helps men become better husbands, fathers, and partners, and doing it in a really wonderful way. I was reading his media one sheet, and I had all kinds of unanswered questions. So I said to him, could it be that your own personal story is the reason that you have committed your life to doing this kind of work? Are you the victim of this particular circumstance, and have you turned that wound into a blessing that can be a benefit to hundreds or thousands of people around the world? And he said, gosh, I would have had a V8. I totally forgot to put my story in my message. And once he put his story in his message, everyone in the group that was hearing from him for the first time was instantly attracted to him and wanting to be someone who could refer business to him. Just by having someone look over what he had created to make it that much more magnificent and magnetic to the outcomes that he wants, which is more leads, more clients, more connections, more collaborations, and more cash. Another person was so caught up in naming and claiming who it's for that she forgot to mention what the big win is about it in the first place. I think sometimes we get caught up in the mechanics of what it is to create a media one sheet without being connected to the message that we're delivering that can make such a big difference for people who need the solution that you provide or need to benefit from the conversation that you want to lead or want to get in step behind you with the flag that you want to wave. Some people can't figure out what it is they want to call themselves. They're really obsessing of what should I call myself? Do I call myself a mentor, a guide, a facilitator? That is important to a point, but what's more important is the big result that you bring about and what's unique and compelling and game-changing about the way that you bring that result forward and the person that you are when you get to deliver that message. These are just some of the struggles that I see people contending with as they try to dial in why a host would want to talk to them on their podcast, broadcast, or other virtual or live stage. If you find yourself obsessing and perseverating and trying to get to perfection and delaying sharing your message with more of the right people, how is that serving you? And more importantly, how is that a disservice to the people that you most want to help? Just yesterday, during one of my calls for my Broadcast Your Brilliance boot campers, I said to folks, your media one sheet, to my way of thinking, is a exercise in message clarity, because you have one sheet of paper to say the conversation you want to ignite, what qualifies you as the person that a host would be interested in talking to, what hot topics that you want to talk about that would be head-changing and head-turning and game-changing, and how they can book you. It's one thing to have all that clarified for yourself, but if a host never gets to see it, how well does it serve you? So yesterday during my Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp live call, I challenged all of my clients to post the content on their Media One sheets to some of the better platforms that are matchmaking sites so that hosts and guests can connect. And just one day later, less than one day later, clients are already reporting being invited to be guests on podcasts, to be guest speakers as in people's Facebook groups, to be on people's radio shows. It happened just like that. It's one thing to obsess about your Media One sheet. It's another thing entirely to make sure it is seen by people who have the power to choose you. How much longer are you going to obsess and perseverate around perfection instead of getting this done and dialed so you can get on with it? March is just like 1 week away. The first quarter of the year almost like vanished. And if you're still suffering and trying to struggle and can't figure out the right words to share, isn't it time to bring in the reinforcements? Isn't it time to bring in the relief? On March 3rd, Thursday at 9 o'clock, I am going to do a semi-private Media One sheet makeover session. There are only 4 spots and 2 of them are claimed. If you want my eyes on your message so that it can transform from dreary to door opening, so that you can get on with it and start sharing your message with hundreds or thousands or more people who would want to be a part of the conversation that you want to lead, this is my invitation to you to claim your place. I'm closing enrollments tomorrow, which is Friday. And why is that? Because I want you to use the weekend and the first part of next week to create your sloppy first copy of your Media One sheet based on the training that you're going to consume wherever you are in the world at whatever time zone to pull this together so that I can see it. You're going to come to the call on Thursday with your sloppy first copy ready to share, and I'm going to transform it from dreary to door opening. I'm going to ask you clarifying questions about your story. I'm going to ask you questions about the conversation you want to be a part of and that you want to lead. And I'm going to ask you what sets you apart from other people who do what it is that you do. In this intimate session, you are going to be guided to a level of confidence and clarity about what you want to say, be, and do so that you can have what it is that you want, which is the confidence to share your message with the people who can bring you to their shows so that you can build an audience for your message, so that you can get more visible, so that you can attract what it is that you need in order for your business to take flight and grow. If you are excited about the prospect of being in this intimate group for 90 minutes, where you're going to be the center of my attention for that entire time to get the breakthrough that you need to get on with it, this is your golden moment to claim one of the 2 spaces for yourself. Not only will you get the benefit of my eyes on your message and my decades of experience transforming boring bios and Media One sheets into door opening tools of magic, but you're going to get the replays from the most recent Podcast Visibility Live Labs so that you can consume them. You're going to get the Media One sheet gift templates so that you have a beautiful format in which to flow in your content. My virtual assistant is going to take your sloppy first copy and polish it up so it looks beautiful and branded to your colors so that you can be confident in sharing it with the world. And I think I've got some other magic brewing too. So what I'd like you to do is look to the crawler along the bottom of the screen and go to that link for the semi-private Media One sheet makeover session. There are only 2 spots available and enrollments are closing tomorrow, Friday the 25th, because you need a few days to get your act together. Don't you come to my meeting without having created your sloppy first copy. This is my golden boot, my velvet boot of accountability saying, say yes, be all in, and let these struggles be kicked to the curb, because I want you and your message to be seen, heard, celebrated, and ultimately compensated as you speak up on the podcasts that are right for your message. And anything less than that simply isn't good enough. If you know it's your time to have a wider audience and you know it's time to have sales beyond expectations, isn't it time to stop going it alone and bring in the reinforcements? Those who work with me claim that I am brilliant at what it is that I do, and I would invite you to be the judge. There are examples of Media One Sheets posted in our Wow Wednesday thread that show you that there are some remarkable messengers that are looking for opportunities, and they got to that level of confidence and clarity by working with me. I'd like you to do the same. 2 spots are available. You're going to probably meet 3 other people in the group that could become your champions, your co-collaborators, your advocates, and your friends. But more importantly, you're going to stop the struggle and get on with it. And that's really the point. So please join me for the Media One Sheet Makeover session. Yes, there's an investment required, but how many hours and hours of time have you wasted not getting it done? You're going to find this an incredible investment in your success, modest yet meaningful, and it will pay off for you perhaps within days when you finally start sharing it with the people who need to see it, so you can book yourself and get on with the business of waving the flag for the mission you're fighting for, the message and the conversation you want to share, and why you are the best available athlete to deliver that magic. My name is Nancy Jutton, and I am the podcast guesting success expert and someone who's made quite a nice living for myself helping people do this very thing that we're talking about in service to the great work that's out there to be acknowledged and seen. So if you're excited about that, I look forward to working with you. It's all the magic's going to start on the 3rd of March, which is a Thursday, and I would love to have you in the room. If you have questions for me, you can send me a private message or an email at nancy@getknowngetpaid.com. I'll happily reply, but remember, there are only 2 spots. I hope one of them has your name on it. Thanks so much. We will talk to you next time.